Welcome to lesson number 2 of how to make your own Google Slide lessons. Last time we learned how to make animations using Google Slides. This lesson and the next few that will follow are going to be much simpler. We are going to use that same animation feature to make different types of questions. First, we are going to start with just the basic multiple choice. Let's get started. As you can see here, I already prepped my background, have my cute border around my blank white space, and I have a cute title in a color that matches the background. So there are 2 different ways that you can make multiple choice questions. It depends on what kind of format you want. If you care more about aesthetics, or if you want more questions to fit on one page, you might choose one form or the other. So the first way that you can do it is just pull up a text box. We're going to hit insert text box and then just type in number 1. It will bullet point it out for you. And for the sake of this, I'm just going to kind of randomly blah, 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 blah. Now, style number 1 is going to have the choices in a vertical line. We're going to do it like this. We're going to hit the tab button. It's going to bring it over. Letter A is going to pop up. So here's choice number 1, choice number 2, 3. Okay. Now, we'll go ahead and add a second question. And tab. Here's your first choice, second choice, third choice. Okay. This is the first style. Now, the one major benefit of this version is it's very, very easy. Doesn't require any extra thought on your part. Everything lines up all by itself. No problem. The biggest issue is it takes up a lot of space. I recommend a font size of at least 16 to make it easily visible for students who are taking classes on their tablets or iPhones. So if I increase the size of this up to 16, you can see I can only fit 3 questions, like max, on each page. Now, what you could do is if your questions are short enough, you could make 2 columns of questions. However, you run into an additional problem when you do that, because watch what happens if I copy this and paste it and I bring it over here. That looks fine, right? Except I don't want this to be number 1. I want it to be number 3. I can't do that. I cannot change this to 3. It won't work. If I delete that and try to add a 3, it won't space it out like it's supposed to. The only way it's going to register it as being a sequence is if the first entry is number 1. And because I got rid of my number 1, I cannot get the same nice indentions in the same way. So instead, I would have to manually push this over and kind of estimate that it's the same distance. And I'd have to do the same thing with all of these, which I'd have to first get rid of that and then space it over and put it maybe like right here. All right, kind of like that. But it is doable. It is definitely doable, but it's a pain in the butt and sometimes not worth it. You're better off if you care about this being fast and you care about the convenience of it. If that's the reason why you chose this style, you're going to only be able to put 3 per. There we go. And as you can see, it's decently lined up, but it's not exact. So you can do it this way. You can have 2 columns of questions, assuming that your questions are short enough, but the second half of the questions, you are going to have to manually adjust all of the intentions. So this is method number 1. I'm actually going to delete this part right here. So because I am just using a random assemblage of words, I went ahead and colored the question in a different color to make it a little easier to see. Now we are going to do the second style of question. Once again, we are going to insert a text box. Now we're going to once again hit number 1, type out our question, but then we are going to hit space And we're going to go ahead and add our next question. But notice I left a pretty decently large space just to make them both have room. We're going to line these up nice and pretty. And I'm going to make them a different color. Let's go with a nice pretty baby blue. Now we are going to insert the choices of these questions in their own separate text box. So once again, insert text box, drag it out nice and long. So we're going to type letter A. And then we're going to, there's our first answer. Let's make it shorter. more realistic here. Okay. Then you're going to hit the space bar. You're going to come over. Now, it's better to count, like, for example, from the end of your last word, you might count to 10 and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then do RB and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for our indentation. Type in some more letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Letter C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here's our next answer. And this is a way that we can kind of stylize our multiple choice questions, and they don't take up as much space. Just for some context, let's take a look here. Let me grab my pencil. You can see that is how long 2 questions are with just 3 choices. With the second method, not only is it kind of cute, nice and stylized, it looks different, unique, cool, hip, you know, whatever, but it is also more practical because you can fit a bunch of questions on one page. Now, it's totally optional. You can pick whatever styling you want to. You can even invent your own style. It's your lesson. You can design it however you want to. I do both. I mix it up. But now we need to add our answers. We are going to do this the exact same way for both styles of question. You're going to go up here to insert. You're going to go to shape. And you're going to make a circle. Now, you want to click the mouse. Do not drag the mouse. If you click the mouse, you will make a perfect circle. Side note, if you don't want to hit insert every single time, this little box right here also takes you to the shapes. So if I drag the mouse and try to make a circle, you see how it's kind of making ovals and things like that. Then I have to kind of estimate, and I can get a circle, but it's a lot more difficult that way. So just click perfect circle. Now, this circle is way too big. We need to shrink it. But first, we're going to stylize it a little bit. First, we are going to make the background transparent. We want to be able to see the letter choice inside of the circle. Then we're going to pick a color for the border. I usually put all of my answers in red, but that's a personal choice. You can put them in whatever color you want to, but we're going to go with red. And then I'm going to increase the border size to 4. That way it's really easy to see. Now I want to shrink this circle, but I don't want to lose my perfect proportions. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold the shift key and then grab up one of the corners, and look, I can try as hard as I want to make this into an oval, and it's not going to work. As long as you're holding the shift key, it will stay in this shape. So we're going to pull it down, make it small, and let's see if that's big enough. So let's say that my first answer is maybe A. And oh, looks like it needs to be just a bit bigger. Hold shift again, make it a little bigger, and let's see if that works better. Voila, we have our first choice. And then we want all of our circles to be the exact same size. So we're just going to copy this and paste it and put it on our answer for the next one. So let's say that this one is maybe C. And as you can see, this red line here is keeping them in line with each other, which is what we want. We want everything to look uniform and professional. Maybe this one is B. And how about C? Now that I have all of my choices selected, it's time to animate them. We want them to be animated in the order of the questions. So we're just going to click the circle and click on animate. And you don't have to change anything else. We're just going to leave it at fade in on click. That way, student has time to read the question, they give their answer, you click the mouse, and the answer will be revealed, showing if they are correct or not. And we're going to do it for all of the circles in order down the list, just like this. And like I mentioned last time, even though this is a very simple animation, don't trust yourself. Always tested at least once. I cannot tell you how many times I taught a lesson for the first time with a new student and didn't realize that one of my animations wasn't working correctly. Thankfully, all of my students have been understanding. Don't let it happen to you. Check yourself. Always check yourself. So let's test it. See if it's working. Hit the play button. And we have our questionnaire here. There we go. Answer is A. Student reads the question. Answer is C. Voila. And now you know how to make multiple choice questions on Google Slides. I hope this video was helpful and you learned something new today. The next lesson will be very similar to this one. I'm going to show you how to make matching questions. They're super duper easy, but they're lots of fun for your student. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye!